if you've lied on your CV, not just about the job or about the job title, maybe a job that you never really got paid for because it was a promotion that should have happened but didn't, and you did the job anyway, so you kind of just embellished your CV a little bit to reflect your own interpretation of reality. But you didn't, maybe you didn't tell a great big whopper, like you lied about the doctorate that you didn't get in the United States, but you put it on your CV anyway, pretty certain that no one would double check. The problem for cheats is that the successful ones often become so very successful and they go so far up the corporate ladder that it's almost inevitable that they'll be found out. The Public Protector today slamming the SABC and successive boards of directors for allowing the acting chief operating officer, Claudia Naidoo, to operate, she says, above the law. She says the current board should take disciplinary action against Naidoo for his dishonesty relating to misrepresentation of his qualification, abuse of power, improper conduct in the appointments and salary increases for a number of executives. Also spoke about pathological corporate deficiencies at the SABC. Claudia Naidoo is marketing manager for Managed Integrity Evaluation. If everybody was honest on their CVs, Claudia, there would be no need for your business.
That's correct. Good evening, Bruce. Thanks so much for having me. I think, yes, if people didn't lie, then there would be no need for background screening, and MIE wouldn't be able to assist companies out there in their recruitment process.
How many people lie on their CVs, Claudia?
Oh, the stats are quite shocking. They have shown a decrease. You know, MIE releases annual screening index reports, and we're busy with the one for 2013 that shows a 2% drop in secondary qualifications. But even with that, we are still sitting on 36% of all matriculant CVs having been falsified.
36% of CVs lie about the matric results.
Yes. And that's across all sectors, across all genders. And, you know, they do this because of the need to find employment. They want to survive in an increasingly competitive economy. If you just look at unemployment rates sitting over 24%.
So if you lie about your matric results and you get away with that because you're actually quite bright, perhaps you weren't particularly academically inclined, but you tweak your matric results just a little bit and you get the job, and you do well and you get promoted, do you find that people who tend to lie once on the CV will then embellish future CVs and then get to the point of being a little bit outrageous?
Well, yes, Bruce. You know, in certain instances, background screening is meant to be a proactive pre-employment verification of a person's CVs. But in certain instances, people do happen to bypass the process, entering the job market at a very entry-level position, and over time believing that if they got away with it once, what stops them then from getting away with it again? All driven by the need for this employment and growth and development.
Is it unusual in organizations for individuals who have fabricated qualifications to rise through the ranks unchecked, or do we have a bunch of people sitting in organizations across the country who have got there through lies?
Well, you know, it's not really an easy one to answer. People, if they are proactive with their background screening checks before placing individuals, they will have mitigated the risk and not actually gotten those people placed in. You know, once people are placed and it is done as a reactive process, then the person who was employed in that position isn't necessarily qualified and won't necessarily be able to do the job. This will result in them making wrong decisions, even unintentionally so. And this is due to the lack of experience. So it's only a matter of time that their inexperience will show.
Is there a criminal sanction for lying on a CV? It's surely got to be tantamount to fraud.
Well, yes, committing a lie is obviously what is considered fraudulent activity of an individual. And, you know, it is taken seriously within the recruitment and HR industry. And this is why they have the measures of background screening and use companies like MIE and any other background screening company to prevent this from taking place.
But is it fraud? If somebody lies on their CV, would it be incumbent on the board of that company to actually go and file a criminal charge against them because they have committed fraud?
Well, the company has an obligation. They can follow one of three processes. They can choose to redeploy the individual. They can performance manage the individual, and in adverse circumstances, yes, disciplinary action can be followed and the person can be dismissed.
And they can be dismissed, but there's no criminal consequence to lying on your CV.
Not as it stands, no.
Should there be?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I mean, what do we do with individuals who lie about other aspects of their CV, from having driver's licenses to their relevant work experiences? It has an impact on the organization's reputation.
And what about boards that fail to take appropriate action against people who have lied?
Well, that is an internal process that companies develop, their own HR policies, which clearly guide and direct these organizations on what steps to take if a person has falsified information. Now, that element we as MIE don't necessarily fall part of, but we help them verify pre-employment to prevent this from ever occurring.
But, I mean, just the stats are terrifying. 36% of people in South Africa have lied about their matric results. Do people also then tend to massage their titles, their job titles, as they hit their 30s and 40s and haven't quite cracked the upper echelons? They think they can get a bit of a head start that they very obviously deserve by simply just tweaking things just a little bit.
Yes, the people out there are falsifying these CVs because they have this belief within themselves that they can do the job. So while they might not have got the qualification or necessarily had the title, they believe within themselves they are suitable. And so they tweak it, they massage it, all those words you used, to get a step ahead.
There we go. Claudia Naidoo, the marketing manager at Managed Integrity Evaluation. Sure, those numbers are scary. And so if you are hiring somebody and you're not checking out their CV, it's your own fault. But I can't believe there isn't any sort of criminal sanction that can be brought against somebody who's fraudulently declared and lied and been promoted through their lies and deceit through that particular process. It's an extraordinary one, isn't it? Claudia Naidoo from Managed Integrity Evaluation.